Tribe, how you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Love Love and Hip Hop Family Reunion Season 2 Episode 7, I think we're on. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, Episode 7. Sounds right. When we start this episode off, we have Safari and we have Cisco. You know, they were getting ready to fight, and so we see them, you know, still kind of going at it or whatever. But of course, they break it up. Erica was like, whatever, I don't have time for this. She went back to her room. The night pretty much ended. That was pretty much that. Peter was trying to get the Tara's room. Tara was like, nah, I'm good. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, the keychain, and 2 kids, okay? Or 3 kids. However many kids they got, child. So the next morning, we see Rich talking to Cisco and basically telling him, yo, last night that wasn't cool. Like, Safari already got a lot going on. He dealing with a lot with Erica and all of that, whether it's a self-inflicted wound or not. That's like, your timing was kind of messed up, and at the end of the day, was it really that serious? And he was like, yeah, because he was like, well, I think Safari felt like you was kind of checking him. He was like, I was checking him. I absolutely was checking him. You don't come to my aunt's party, and then the rest of the night, people asking me where you are, because I was supposed to be the one to bring you. I was embarrassed. And let's not forget, Safari, she helped you with your career. Right. She helped him with his career, which means that if he wanted to come to her birthday party, he didn't need to go through you. Like, you weren't doing anything special by inviting Safari to the party. Listen, I get it. Safari said he was coming and then he flaked. Is it cool? No. But that's really something you've been holding on to for the last 4 years. You couldn't have called Safari, picked up the phone. If you had his phone number to call him and invite him to the party, you damn sure had his phone number to call him and be like, yo, what happened? I was waiting for you. You left me hanging. My aunt was disappointed. Are you still in Atlanta? Maybe you can come over and have some drinks. She would still like to see you. Because at the end of the day, I felt like you just wanted to have a problem with Safari, and you made that, and you made it a problem. Anyway. So then we have, so then Rich tells Cisco, stop worrying about Safari. You really need the person you really need to have the conversation with is Sin. Like, you really need to clear that up, because that's kind of a messed up situation, and I know she feels some kind of way about it. So he goes to talk to Sin, and listen, at the end of the day, you did what you did, Cisco, and all you should have done was say, you know what, I was on some fuck shit. I was trying to get them draws, and you were absolutely correct. I did what a lot of men in the industry do. I tried to use your career, hold it over your head to get what I wanted. I was wrong for that. I was younger. That was 5 years ago. I'm not that dude anymore, and I apologize. You know what? That's all you had to say. Stop sitting here and trying to make it seem like it wasn't something that it was. And like Sin said, like, at the end of the day, I felt played, because you tried to use what I wanted to do for my brother against me. And like he said, well, you know what? I just did what anybody else would have done. You know, when you do a record, you know, they're going to take the, you know, what you owe them out of the profits before you get it, before you get any money. She was like, yeah, but the problem is we never had that conversation prior to me turning you down to date you. It was never an issue. You never brought up money. You never said what I was going to owe you. I didn't sign no contracts. I didn't do nothing. So for you to come back around after I said I wasn't interested in dating you, and now all of a sudden I owe you some money, that's my problem. That's the beef. Then Cisco gonna say, well, I mean, it wasn't just one-sided. I mean, she did invite me out. She did invite me to... You still don't get it. Like, you still don't get it. Excuse me. Cisco is... I talk about creep squad. Like, because I feel like Rich and Peter, I feel like, have grown a little bit out of that creep squad situation, but not Cisco. Anyway, so the event is Jonathan's event. And he's doing, well, actually, before we get there, the guys are in the gym working out. And basically, the guys are trying to confront Safari about the situation that happened on the blogs. And Safari was like, it's not real, it didn't happen. And Marcus is telling him, listen, perception is reality. And whether you really sent that woman some flowers or not, the perception is that you did, and it looks real. And what you got to understand is that you hurt Erica once again, and you got to process and deal with it accordingly. Now, Safari, here's the problem. Here's the reason why I don't believe you, and I believe you sent that woman some flowers. Because in your confessional, you keep saying, I'm single, I'm going through a divorce, and I can do what I want to do, and I can see who I want to see, and whatever I do is my business, and she could have done the same. So that doesn't sound like somebody that didn't do it. That sounds like somebody that feels justified in what he did. And you may very well be justified in it, but that's what I get out of it. That's what I get out of it. So it don't matter. It is what it is, child. So like I said, it's Jonathan's event, and he's throwing a gay pride brunch, and he's got the rainbow flag. He's got the flag with the trans, with the different colors, with the the brown and the black colors. Like he's got the the super flag with everything and everybody represented. And he is speaking on his gay conversion therapy situation. And if you watch Love and Hip Hop New York, you heard this story before. But it's a story that needs to be told, because the way that he explained it, you got a little more clarity on why his mother did it. He said that, he was being bullied in school a lot, and a doctor approached his mom and basically said, listen, I have somewhere that, we can send Jonathan that's going to help him so that he won't get bullied as much. And, a mom is worried about their child, and it's coming from a place of love. And so the mom just wanted him to, be better and not be bullied. A mom is worried about their child, And so, of course, everybody's emotional about it. Everybody is, and he said, so, he said, this is how you can help. And, they keep panning over to Zell. And Zell looks very uncomfortable. He looked like he don't want to be there. And, he's very uncomfortable. So Peter was like, yo, whatever you need, Jonathan, whatever you need, I got you. I'll pull up. And Amina says, oh, that's how you feel? Well, then why wouldn't you let your son wear a ladybug costume for Halloween? I think that's messed up. Girl, what? Girl, ain't nobody ask you. You didn't got nothing to do. Why would you? And I was like, huh? And come to find out, it wasn't even her child. Like, she doesn't even have, it was Tara's son. And Tara got up and defended Peter and was like, listen, my child wants to be something different every week. I'm not buying him a new costume every time he decides he wants to be something. He wanted to be a ladybug. When we went back to the store, he had changed his mind. He didn't want to be a ladybug no more, and we moved on. It wasn't that serious. Amina made it seem like Peter was like, hell no, you can't be no ladybug. That's gay stuff. You can't do that. And she said that he was crying and he was upset. He probably was crying, because that's what kids do when they don't get their way. They cry. Now, I ain't about to sit here and defend Peter one way or the other. I don't know how deep it went. But here's my problem with the situation. And I know we're making a TV show, okay? Let's be clear. But you could have gotten just as powerful of a scene if Amina had pulled Peter aside and let the cameras come with them and said, you know what, Peter, I ain't really want to call you out in front of everybody, but I saw how supportive you were of Jonathan in that moment. But I'm reminded of a time where I felt like your son wanted to wear a Halloween costume that you felt was feminine or girly, and you wouldn't let him do it. And I just think next time something like that comes up, remember this moment. You would have gotten just as powerful of a moment, but see, you decided to call him out in front of everybody. So, of course, Bobby Lights is responding. What's the big deal? Your son, he's a child. He doesn't know the difference between a butterfly and a ladybug and a blah, blah, blah and a blah, blah, blah. And then you got Zale getting upset talking about something. But that's what he's supposed to do. He the father. He's the man. He's supposed to let him know what's masculine and what's feminine. So now Bobby and Zale done got into this whole argument. And, I'm gonna come back to Bobby and Zale. Let me finish up with Miss Amina Butterfly. Amina, you showed your slip, because this was about embarrassing Peter. This was about embarrassing Peter, because when Rich and all of them sort of checked you on it and asked you why you did it the way you did it, you were like, I don't care about embarrassing Rich. You know how many times he embarrassed me on TV? You think I care about embarrassing him on TV? I said, ding, 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 ding. This was about embarrassing him. This wasn't really about you thought he was homophobic or you thought he was making some homophobic decisions as his son is related as it relates to his son. This was about you finding a moment where you could embarrass him maybe one little percentage as much as he embarrassed you. That's what this is about. And for Peter's side of it, I felt where Peter was coming from. Peter was pissed. And what Peter said was, she could ruin my career over this. And he's absolutely correct. In the environment that we live in the cancer culture that we are in, you piss off the wrong group at the wrong time, they will cancel your ass. And Peter is like, listen, I have always defended gay people. I have always defended their rights to be whatever it is that they wanted to be. He said, my daughter, who I had with Amina, is named after the gay woman who helped raise me. Why in the world would I do that? Why would I have a problem with that? And again, that doesn't mean that Peter didn't do exactly what Amina said he did. But anytime Tara is defending him, I feel like you could have had that same moment, but you could have pulled him aside because we're still making a TV show. But you wanted to embarrass him. Now, let's get back to Zell and Bobby. Now, Zell and Bobby get to arguing, and in my mind, all I'm thinking is, oh, Bobby, but when Jonathan had a problem with some of the stuff Zell was saying about being a man, and I'm a man's man, and I'm a man, and I ain't that gay, you ain't had no problem with it. You was defending it. And to Bobby's credit, he even said, listen, when he made the comments that pissed Jonathan off, I kind of let it go, because I ain't want to start nothing. I ain't want it to be no problem. But see, that's part of the problem. In that moment, if what Zell said offended you and bothered you, you should have stood up for it, and you should have had Jonathan's back. And what Zell was saying was, listen, I was raised by and what I feel like, if y'all read between the lines of what Zell was saying, I feel like Zell has his own trauma as it relates to growing up and being gay. And because he grew up with his father in his house, and he said, my father was a real nigga. My father was a real, and what I heard was, my father didn't allow me to be feminine. And then in his confessional later on in the episode, he said, you know, when I was younger, I was feminine. You know, I had a little sugar in my tank. I was very feminine acting, and my father would not allow it. And so when I hear Zell, what I hear is that's Zell's trauma, and that's what he's held on to. Is he said it's allowed me to not be picked on. The fact he said, and that was my father's way of protecting me. And I believe that was probably exactly how his father was thinking too. Like, listen, if my son gonna be gay, he gonna be gay. But what I'm not gonna do is allow him to become a punching bag or allow him to be bullied. Like, he gonna act as straight as possible so that he is not out here leaving himself open to, you know, some negativity. And Jonathan was, Zell was like, well, I wasn't raised by my dad. I was raised by my mom, so I don't know what you're talking about. I was raised differently. And Zell was like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was raised by my father, and so, you know, I don't act like y'all, you know. And Jonathan Lord. Bobby got upset. He kind of walked off. Zell was upset. But he calmed down, and he was like, Jonathan, can I talk to you? So he pulled Jonathan aside, and he told Jonathan point blank, he said, listen, I thought you was lying about this whole gay conversion stuff. Like, I thought you were lying about it. He said, but I heard your story, and I understand. He said, and I apologize, because I don't want you to feel like that I was coming at you any kind of way, or I never wanted you to feel like I was, basically, I didn't want to be part of the problem. You know, I heard you and I apologize. And of course, Jonathan accepted his apology, because it was never about, you know, Jonathan was like, I would love to have come down to your room and talk to you about me planning this brunch and what I was going through and how nervous I was and the anxiety. Because there's certain experiences that only you would understand, that only Bobby would understand. But I felt isolated. I felt like I was on the outside of this clique. And Zell was like, I do too. And I could see where Zell is coming from, because Jonathan and Bobby are very comfortable in their femininity. Not so much their sexuality, because I think Zell is comfortable with who he is. I don't think he's comfortable in how he expresses it. But that's just me. So then they went over to Bobby, and he apologized to Bobby. He was like, Bobby, you know I love you. He was like, me and you are real friends. We are friends outside of these cameras, and you know I would never want to come, make you feel no kind of way. And they were both, everybody was crying, and everybody had that moment, and they all made up, and I think they understood each other a lot better. I think they definitely understood each other a lot better. But everybody definitely had some strong responses, because we have Mimi, who's bisexual, Erica, who's bisexual. Well, I don't know if Mimi identifies as bisexual or just gay. But we know that she's been with men and women. Erica, who identifies as bisexual. Sin, not sure if Sin identifies as bisexual, but we know that she's been in a lesbian relationship. And of course we've got Bobby, Jonathan, and Zell. So we've got a lot going on, and I just feel like everybody had a really good response to the whole thing. But I definitely understood where Jonathan was coming from in that moment. I mean, where Rich was coming from in that moment. And that was pretty much the episode. We had a scene with Mimi and Stevie J, where he's basically promising he's gonna be a better dad, and Mimi was like, listen, ain't nobody got time for all these promises. Stop promising you gonna do something that we know you ain't gonna do. Just do it. Like, I'm sick of you and your promises. Just do it. And that was pretty much it. I don't know, we have a preview for next week's episode. I feel like next week, I don't know, we're gonna get 10 episodes, because we're on episode 7. So that means we got 3 more episodes of this. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.